What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about virtuals today. Virtuals protocol at the request of Flower Child. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. The point of this video is to give a general price prediction as to what I expect to happen over the coming days, coming weeks, coming months, and then we're also going to try and come up with an all-time high end of cycle prediction for this thing too, which is going to be a little bit difficult because the chart hasn't even existed for that long, right? It's only been around since May of 2024, and it really has only sparked life since October. So we're going to do the best we can, but if that all sounds good to you, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. So from a relative high to a relative low here, from the first all-time high to your all-time low there, you've continued to just march your way up this fib extended area, right? You went immediately up to your 1618, where you then took a little reprieve down to the 1414 and built all the way up to your 2272, where you kind of stalled for 2 weeks, but then built again, finding resistance here this week, literally tipping your 2618, and now you're building higher. It does seem to me, it looks as though, you can just see it with the naked eye, that you are slowing down. Okay, and what you have here beyond all other things is you have a high in your weekly RSI, which, by the way, that high is all the way at about 96 on the RSI. This thing only goes to 100. I can't stress to you, it's hard to get the RSI to 80. On a weekly basis, it's hard to get it to 80. It's hard to get it to 85, 90, let alone 95. Like that's nuts, man. You got, I mean, obviously very powerful move. I mean, you saw, from the lows in September at about 2.7 cents. You're all the way up at $4.43 now. So I mean, 20x or so in a few months. What is that? I guess it's actually a 16, 17x in a few months' time. That's not bad at all. What was I just looking at? Right. The weekly RSI here, lower highs. You have higher highs in the price. What that would suggest, to say the least, would be a move down to where this divergence started, which was all the way down here, kind of at this last relative shelf, which was also the area that you consolidated right below the 2618. So it could make sense that you go to this weekly high close, which is at about 271. You're at 443 now. So I know it sounds crazy, but believe me, this is crazy stuff. This is crypto. We're dealing with a coin that saw a 20x essentially, right, since September, since the end of September, beginning of October, right, middle of September. So like literally in the last 4 months, not even a full 4 months, it's seen immaculate growth. If this thing wanted from the current all-time high, if it wanted to drop 66%, it could. Which from the all-time high, it's 66%. From the current price, it's 61%, but still pretty phenomenal or significant drops, right? If it wanted only to drop to this previous area of resistance, it could, but that's still a 47% drop overall. From the current price, it's still about a 38% drop. And I do suspect, just looking at the chart the way it is, looking at the bearish divergence formed here, and I think when we get on shorter time frames, we will interact with this area again. So keep that in mind, 271. We'll see if we can make sense out of that area as well. But I have the suspicion that you go a little higher first. With how well you've respected these fibs, and it might not look like it to the untrained eye, but I think once we get to the shorter term time frames, it'll seem more obvious. But you've definitely respected these fibs all the way up. I mean, if you look at it from a high to a low, you hit your golden ratio, tipped it to a T, went through, broke all the way out. You disrespected everything on your second time through, right? And then you went all the way up to your next golden ratio, the 1618. You topped off here at the 618. You topped off here at the 1618 for like 4 weeks, and then you broke out and moved higher, all the way up to the 2272, where you consolidated for about 2 weeks, and then you moved higher to where you moved to the 2618, and you literally tipped it here. It seems as if you just moved past it, but you did tip it here. You did have, from a high to a low, a 39, almost a 40% drop. So that's significance on not just the 2618, but the 1618, the 618 itself. You're respecting your golden ratios going all the way through, and there's no coincidence to that. So, I mean, to be completely fair, probably you have a date with destiny at $24 and beyond, and it's not really fair. I would say with most charts, it's not really fair to project out these higher fibs, especially something that has only been around this long. But with how well you've respected, I mean, you've literally shown respect on every single golden ratio so far. Why not expect $24 to be respected at some point? Let's look at CoinGecko real quick. I'm going to get that off there. There we go. And I want to look at virtuals here. Virtuals, if it would load. CoinGecko sometimes, oh, right there, you saw it. It's me sometimes, man. I will just, I'll click away right whenever I shouldn't. Virtuals, here we go. It is so slow. 4 point, and I know it's not my internet, man. It's definitely CoinGecko. CoinGecko, out of all websites, it's glitchy for some reason. Maybe because everyone's on it at once. I don't know. $4.4 billion. That's a high market cap. Don't let anyone tell you that it's not. It is a high market cap, but you can go higher. All the way up at $24 from 4.4. Was that right? Let's call it 4.45. Okay, 4.45. All the way up there times 5 times like 5.5. Yeah, that's fine. Probably. Could you see something like that? It's like a 40x. Probably not, no. So, not that this is super helpful, but your all-time high range is likely going to be somewhere between, I would guess, anything from about $24 to probably something less than $100, right? I think you could see $100, even a little bit above $100, but further away from that, you're getting less and less likely. I would think $100 or less is your possible outcome for the all-time highs of this thing, which means from its current price, it still has the potential, to do anything from like a 5x through the rest of the cycle to, I mean, really like over a 20x. So that's a big range. It's not really that helpful, but to be completely fair, with a coin like this, we don't have a lot of helpful things to go off of, and maybe we'll find some things that agree, some congruence later in the charts, but we don't have a whole lot of things to measure off of, man. It's just this and that, really. And look at that, your 7. Look at the 7618. It never comes in handy at all, but look at this 7618 lining up right there with the 3618. I have no doubt that you have a date with Destiny for $24, and you'll probably find some significant resistance there. But do you go there today, tomorrow, by the end of this month? I doubt it. I highly do doubt it, because you've just been on this kind of nonstop train all the way up. But you have had consolidation phases along the way. Just this weekly bearish divergence tells me that probably before you move up to $24, you're probably going to have a correctional phase, a consolidation phase, something that likely takes you down at least to 270, if not lower, right? And you're at 443 now. So these are pretty big drops that we're talking about. If we look at a 3-day basis, 3-day is also showing the same thing, actually even to a more pronounced degree, right? We've got multiple lower highs, 1, 2, 3, 2 lower highs, right? 3 highs total, but 2 lower highs. This could be the 3rd lower high. That would make this triple bearish divergence, right? Because you got your first peak over here, second peak there, third peak there, and this could be your 4th peak, which would be 3 lower highs. That's 1 drive of bearish divergence, 2, 3 drives of bearish divergence. You don't normally see these things play out more than 3, so triple bearish divergence, you guys, it's no joke. It takes a lot to form these kind of situations, right? And that's kind of weird looking. It takes a lot. It takes a lot of bullish behavior, and obviously you've gotten that, but all good things do come to an end, and you can see it, right? You can definitely see, if we draw the move here, right? You moved up, you kind of consolidated, and then this is really when you ignited this move, was right there, right? So here's your first move up, okay? And then, well, that's not what I meant to do. Come on. Then we move that over there. Here you consolidated, right? Consolidated still. You moved up here. That was a nice week, but really you were consolidating this whole time, right? Or nice 3-day period, I should say. Then here is your next move up to your next consolidation phase, right? You can see you're dying off, right? Your strength is going away. And then here's your next move up to your next consolidation phase, right? And you can see, again, still pretty fast pace, moving up, but still dying off. And then here you've got a bigger one overall, like from low to high, than the last one. But look at how much time. Look at the slope, right? Here was your first one, immaculate move. Here was your second one, still pretty awesome, but pales in comparison to the first one. Your third one, and I know these are just squiggly lines, but they give some kind of a illustration, right? A visual effect that you can see the moves in this ugly squiggly white line. It still paints a picture, and the picture is bigger, smaller, comparable size, but with a dramatically lower slope than any of the moves we've seen from busting out of consolidation phases. And you have triple bearish divergence on the 3-day time frame and bearish divergence on the weekly time frame. I'm smelling a top, probably here, probably literally right here at about $5.12, if not a little bit higher. Again, I do actually like this idea of moving up just a little bit higher and going up to your 2886, I think. Yeah, up at 573. But just because I like that idea doesn't mean you have to go there, right? You could top off right here. These are just lines. They're ideas. They're not requirements. You could top off wherever the hell you want to, man. You know, like technically you didn't top at the 1618, did you? You topped off a little bit above it. Technically you didn't top at the 2272, did you? You topped a little bit above it. Could you top a little bit below one of these lines instead of a little bit above it? You know, yeah, absolutely you could. So, if your high is not, all that to say, if your high is not at 573, then it would be the current high at $5.12. Is it worth getting into now? No. It's probably worth getting out of, to be completely fair. Probably for at least a month, if not at least like 3 weeks or more. The daily time frame also showing severe bearish divergence, you guys. Severe, and it all starts back, it all comes back here, right here at $1.76. For this one, I mean, to be fair, that one's all the way back at like 40 cents itself on the 3-day time frame. I don't know if you go all the way back to 40 cents. I suppose from a fib perspective, it could make sense to go all the way back down to your 618. What would that be? What would that be? That'd be a 90% drop. I'm not saying it's impossible, man. Anybody looking at this chart right now and you're like, oh, it can't drop 90% in a bull market. Well, this is your first bull market then, right? It could drop 90% from here in the course of a month and then be at new all-time highs by the end of March. It could do that. That's crypto, man. That's crypto. That's volatile crypto. That's stuff that goes on runs like this. But I doubt that it pulls back that much, because this thing, it does seem to be prominent. There seems to be a lot of hype. I could see it dropping significantly and being volatile, shaking out any weak hands that just pop. But 90%, it's a bit rough. And the divergence did play out. If the only reason I'm mentioning this at all is for one, being at the 2618, 2886 area, pulling all the way back down to your 1618. It's actually a pretty normal thing to do. For two, you've got triple bearish divergence, of which the first peak here started all the way down here. Normally, when you play out your divergences, you go all the way down to where that divergence originated from, right? But where are you going to find your low? It's hard to say. And either way, whether it's all the way down here, which I doubt it's going to be a 90% drop, or at least down to about $1.72, it's going to be a rather dramatic pullback, right? And here's the only thing. Here's the only thing that I would say that could counteract anything that I've said as far as a pullback goes. And I do suspect you are right now, regardless of what I'm about to say, you are about to see the biggest pullback you've seen since this move started. That's coming. It is absolutely coming. That's what the indicators are showing in the charts. But I will say this. My minimum expectation is about 61% from here, just based off the indicators, based off of the traditional way that I would do technical analysis, off of what I would consider a motionless, stone-cold slate. Just that's where it would be. $1.72 at least, if not lower, would be my expected target, okay? But you have shown a lot of strength. When you move up, you don't really pull back, do you? You just consolidate for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 3-day periods in a row, 8, 9, 10, for 30 days, for a month. You literally consolidate, and then you move up. And then here, even though you're not moving up as fast, you're still consolidating and consolidating high and tight. So here, you might have a more dramatic pullback than anything else you've ever seen, but does it have to be all the way down here? Maybe not, right? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you hold the 2618. Maybe you hold 338, 340 as support, previous areas of resistance. And you do something like that. I mean, from a high to a low here, let's just see, that was a 39% drop. From a high to a low here, 32% drop. From a high to a low here, 34% drop. I'm going to delete the 32% because I feel like I want the bigger ones. 34, high to a low here, 30%. High to a low here, 41%. So if you were from a high to a low to drop to that red line, that's about 33. I mean, that's about on par with every drop that you've seen so far. But every drop you've seen so far has not had all these bearish conditions that you've got in front of you right now. So there is a case to be made, I suppose, at holding support around 340, just below 340, 330 to 340. There's a case to be made there. You're at 440 now, still $1 below where you're at now. Definitely not a good time to get into virtuals. Definitely a great time to get out of it. If you're, I'm not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but if I was a financial advisor, I would probably advise my clients to get out, but I don't have any clients because I'm not a financial advisor. If I was holding this myself, this is a great profit-taking area, and that's so obvious being up here from such a stupendous growth in such a short amount of time. But the real question I keep alluding to is, where's it going to bottom? I'm going to end it with this, right? I think somewhere between about $1.72 to $3.38, likely, probably closer to that $1.72 area. And I will say you don't have to go down there, but I would expect at least 338, and truthfully, I really would expect at least like 220, 230, if not $1.72. That's my personal expectation. I don't really know if I have anything else that I want to say. Right, this video went on way longer than I expected it to, than I meant for it to. 236, minimum retracement all the way down there. 382. I mean, dude, there's. I'm just gonna be honest, okay? And I know it sounds crazy, but I'm saying this part not because I wanted to stand out and be crazy. I'm sure most of the people that hate me talking about it going down already, you've already left the video. So this is for you, whoever you are watching this video, probably to the end, because you're trying to make sure you're making the right financial decision for yourself. Understand, this is crypto, and this thing moved up a lot. It's at 440 right now, and there is a completely real possibility that it could drop 90% from here. It is there. There are multiple things that make sense for it to drop there. There are several things that make sense for it not to go down there too. But if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to invest, if you're looking to get in, this message is for you. This might not be the coin. Okay, watch it go up. It's at 440. Watch it go up to 570. Watch it go all the way up to $9. Even if it doubles from here, it's going to pull back to prices that are lower than here. There are other things that in that time will grow, and it will just grow. They won't pull back. So look somewhere else. I don't know. That's the main message of this. I think this thing does well. I think it has a lot of prospects or potential in the future of this cycle. I think 2025 is going to be a great year for this thing. It's already been pretty great, obviously, and last year at the end of the year. But I had the assumption it's at the peak right now. You know what? You know what this reminds me of? I'm going to end it with this. This right now, the amount of times that I've heard virtuals, the word virtuals, being brought up on other people's YouTube channels, on x.com, in my comments, the amount of times I've heard virtuals over the past like 2 weeks has been nuts. And this is whenever I've heard it, right? I don't remember hearing people speak about virtuals. I've heard about it before, right? I probably heard about it back here, but I never gave it any mention. But I didn't hear about it the way I've been hearing about it until like the last couple weeks, okay? This, where we are now, this last couple weeks, I'm circling it not because of where we are in the charts, but because of when I started to get this recognition of hearing virtuals all over the place. It reminds me of a lot of this for Arrow, right? It's like nobody talked about Arrow. It was, some people mentioned it was this new thing, whatever, but everybody thought it was a great idea up here at the top. Even on this week, on this red week, everybody was still talking about it, right? And it's still going to see new all-time highs, but it had to correct first. And that's all I'm implying here, is that it could still see new all-time highs. I doubt it sees a 90% correction. I really do, but it's possible. It happens in crypto. It literally does happen in crypto. In the middle of bull markets, it can happen as well. But I've given you guys my true expectation would be something between, I think, $1.70 and $2.40 would be kind of my minimum expectation. $3.40 is like the true minimum, but somewhere in that range, $2.20 to $1.70 is what I like. And then for an all-time high, it's really a total guess. It's not fair of me to say it all because I know nothing about the fundamentals. I just know the technicals. So being at 4.4, could it 10x from here? Yes, a 10x from here would be $43. Could it do that? Yes, I think it could. Could it double that? Yeah, I think an $80 virtuals, a $90 virtuals is possible. Could it get to $100? That's pushing it. That's like to the limits of what I would expect. Probably you don't break $100, but probably you do break $50 would be my guess. So all-time high, it's a big range, $50 to $100, but I'll tell you what, from $4.39 to $50 at a minimum price target, which I think is fine. Well, probably, truthfully, $40 would be a minimum price target, $45. Being at a 10x here is nice, but if it's about to experience some kind of wicked drop, man, I mean, all the way up to 445 here, that's a 10x. What if you catch this thing at $1.70, or maybe not quite at it, maybe it goes down to $1.70, but you catch it at $2, right? If you could catch it at $2, that 10x at this price turns into a 22x down there, right? So like you literally double your money with what would only be a 54% drop. I don't know. And it's not doubling your money in the sense of like a 200% growth. It's doubling your money in the sense of a 10x to a 22x, right? That's It's a lot. So it's a big difference there. You're not doubling your money, you're doubling your overall growth potential percentage, which is a lot more. But that's all I got, guys. If you like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Definitely a red light for me. I would not be buying here. If I had any friends or family that were holding this, I would be calling them right now and being like, get the hell out. You did great already. Celebrate. Take profits. Get out of there. That'd be my personal message, but not a financial advisor, not financial advice. Hit that like button, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.